Sultan Suleiman, often remembered as Suleiman the Magnificent, or Suleiman the Lawgiver, stands as one of history's most celebrated rulers. His name resonates through the pages of time, not just as a mighty conqueror but as a visionary leader who transformed the Ottoman Empire into a formidable force in politics, culture, and governance. Born into the House of Osman, his reign marked the zenith of the empire's power, blending the ferocity of a warrior with the wisdom of a statesman. His legacy, spanning nearly 5 decades, left an indelible mark on the world, reshaping not just the map of his time but also the way history remembers leadership. As a young prince, Suleiman's path to greatness was not guaranteed but forged through careful preparation. His father, Sultan Selim I, had expanded the empire's borders, handing his son a vast but volatile realm. The weight of expectations was immense. Could Suleiman, a young and untested ruler, preserve his father's conquests, or would he crumble under the pressure? When Suleiman ascended the throne in 1520, the world watched with bated breath. What unfolded was a reign that would eclipse even the most optimistic predictions. This is a story of ambition and resilience, where victory often came at the price of personal sacrifice. From the palatial halls of Topkapi to the bloody battlefields of Europe, Suleiman's journey was a masterclass in leadership and adaptability. His name became synonymous with power and grandeur, yet his story is also one of complexity, a ruler torn between duty and the very human emotions that shaped his decisions. Whether it was his unwavering love for Hurrem Sultan, his brilliant but tragic son Mustafa, or the empire's sprawling territories demanding constant attention, Suleiman's life was a delicate balance of glory and pain. But his legacy is not confined to his military prowess. Under Suleiman, the empire flourished in every conceivable way. He was a patron of the arts, commissioning grand architectural marvels like the Suleymaniye Mosque, and he cultivated a court that became the heartbeat of Islamic culture. Scholars, poets, and artisans thrived under his reign, creating works that still inspire awe. Yet Suleiman was also a man who understood the complexities of governance. His reforms in law and administration earned him the title of lawgiver, as he sought justice not just for the elites but for every subject under his rule. Suleiman's reign was not without challenges. From rival empires in Europe to dissent within his own court, he faced crises that could have easily unraveled the fabric of his rule. And yet, he emerged stronger, leaving behind an empire that would continue to influence the world for centuries. As we embark on this exploration of Sultan Suleiman's life, we will journey through the triumphs and tribulations that defined his era. This is not just the story of an emperor but a chapter in history that shaped the destiny of nations. Whether through his campaigns, his diplomacy, or his enduring influence on art and culture, Suleiman's story is one of timeless significance. His life offers lessons in leadership, humanity, and the pursuit of greatness, a story worth revisiting in the annals of time. Suleiman was born in the city of Trabzon on November 6, 1494, during a period of rapid Ottoman expansion. His father, Sultan Selim I, also known as Selim the Grim, was a formidable ruler, known for his military campaigns and his ruthless consolidation of power. Suleiman's mother, Hafsa Sultan, played an important role in his upbringing. She ensured that her son was well educated and instilled in him a sense of responsibility and discipline from an early age. Unlike many royal children who were surrounded by indulgence, Suleiman's early life was marked by a balance of luxury and rigorous training, preparing him for the demands of leadership. From a young age, Suleiman displayed an exceptional intellect and curiosity. He was tutored in various disciplines, including theology, literature, history, and governance. He also learned multiple languages, such as Arabic, Persian, and Serbian, which later allowed him to communicate effectively with diverse subjects of the Ottoman Empire. However, his education was not limited to academics. Suleiman was also trained in military strategy, horsemanship, and swordsmanship, all essential skills for a future sultan. His closest friendships during this time, particularly with a young slave named Ibrahim, would later evolve into one of the most significant relationships of his life, influencing both his personal and political decisions. As was customary for Ottoman princes, Suleiman was appointed to governorships in his teenage years. These roles were not ceremonial, they were a vital part of training young princes in statecraft. At the age of 15, Suleiman was sent to govern Bolu and later Manisa, a critical region near the capital. During his time as governor, He demonstrated exceptional administrative skills, ensuring that the provinces under his charge were stable and prosperous. His governance was marked by justice and efficiency, earning him the admiration of the local population and the respect of his father. Suleiman's ascent to the throne was not without challenges. Sultan Selim I, his father, had risen to power through a series of bloody conflicts, solidifying his authority by eliminating potential rivals, including his own brothers and nephews. By the time Selim passed away in 1520, Suleiman was the sole heir, sparing him the bloodshed that often accompanied Ottoman successions. However, the transition of power was still a delicate process. The empire was vast and diverse, with ambitious governors and military commanders who could pose a threat to a young and relatively inexperienced ruler. When Suleiman ascended the throne at the age of 26, there were doubts about his ability to fill his father's shoes. Selim had been a warrior sultan who had expanded the empire's borders dramatically, and many questioned whether Suleiman possessed the same mettle. His early days as sultan were closely watched by his court and his enemies, both within and beyond the empire. Suleiman wasted no time in proving his critics wrong. His first military campaign, the conquest of Belgrade in 1521, was a resounding success. This victory was not just a territorial gain but a strategic triumph that sent a clear message: Suleiman was not a passive ruler. Belgrade, a heavily fortified city on the Danube River, had long been a thorn in the Ottoman Empire's side. Its capture opened the gateway to Central Europe and demonstrated Suleiman's military acumen. The following year, Suleiman embarked on one of the most audacious campaigns of his reign, the Siege of Rhodes. The island of Rhodes was a stronghold of the Knights Hospitaller, a Christian military order that had resisted Ottoman advances for decades. The siege was a grueling endeavor, lasting for months and testing the limits of Ottoman military engineering. Suleiman personally oversaw the campaign, demonstrating a hands-on approach that would become a hallmark of his leadership. When Rhodes finally fell in 1522, it was a moment of immense pride for the young sultan and a significant blow to Christendom. Suleiman's early victories established him as a formidable ruler, but his approach to power extended beyond the battlefield. He was deeply committed to justice and governance, qualities that earned him the title, Kanuni, or the lawgiver. Early in his reign, he set about reforming the empire's legal and administrative systems. His laws were designed to ensure fairness and efficiency, addressing issues such as land ownership, taxation, and crime. These reforms not only strengthened the empire but also endeared him to his subjects, who saw him as a ruler deeply invested in their well-being. However, Suleiman's rise to power was not without personal trials. The burden of leadership often forced him to make difficult decisions, some of which weighed heavily on his conscience. One of the most challenging aspects of his role was balancing his responsibilities as a sultan with his personal relationships. His bond with Ibrahim, who had risen to become his Grand Vizier, was both a source of strength and a potential vulnerability. Ibrahim's rapid rise and immense influence led to tensions within the court, foreshadowing conflicts that would later come to a head. Suleiman's ascension was also marked by his growing relationship with Hurrem Sultan, a woman who would become one of the most influential figures in his life in the empire. Originally a concubine, Herm captured Suleiman's heart with her intelligence, wit, and charm. Their relationship was unconventional and controversial, as Suleiman broke with tradition by marrying her and elevating her to a position of unprecedented power. Hurrem's influence would become a defining feature of his reign, shaping both his personal and political decisions. By the time Suleiman had solidified his position as sultan, he had already demonstrated a unique combination of military prowess, administrative skill, and personal charisma. His early life and rise to power laid the foundation for a reign that would transform the Ottoman Empire. From a young prince in the provinces to the ruler of one of the world's most powerful empires, Suleiman's journey was a testament to his resilience, intelligence, and vision. His early successes were not just a prelude to greatness but an integral part of the legacy that continues to captivate historians and admirers to this day. The reign of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent is often referred to as the Golden Age of the Ottoman Empire, a period when it reached the zenith of its power, influence, and cultural development. Suleiman, with his strategic brilliance and commitment to governance, transformed the Ottoman state into a global superpower. Under his rule, the empire expanded territorially, flourished economically, and became a beacon of cultural and intellectual achievement. Suleiman's territorial conquests were unparalleled, and his military campaigns laid the groundwork for the empire's dominance. The Ottoman army, one of the most disciplined and advanced forces of its time, was central to this success. Suleiman personally led campaigns that extended the empire's borders into Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. Each victory not only brought new lands under Ottoman control but also strengthened its position as a global power. One of Suleiman's most celebrated achievements was the capture of Budapest and the victory at the Battle of Mohacs in 1526. This battle against Hungary was a turning point, as it effectively dismantled the Hungarian monarchy and made the region a vassal state of the Ottoman Empire. Mohacs demonstrated the empire's military supremacy and sent shockwaves across Europe, as Christian kingdoms scrambled to defend themselves against the advancing Ottomans. Suleiman's ambitions in Europe did not end with Hungary. The Siege of Vienna in 1529 marked one of the most ambitious campaigns of his reign. Though the siege ultimately failed due to logistical challenges and harsh weather, it underscored the extent of Ottoman power and its ability to strike deep into the heart of Europe. Vienna became a symbol of resistance against Ottoman expansion, but the campaign firmly established Suleiman as a military leader who commanded respect and fear across the continent. The Golden Age was not limited to military conquests, it was also an era of unprecedented administrative and legal reform. Suleiman earned the title, Kanuni, or the Lawgiver, for his comprehensive overhaul of the empire's legal system. Recognizing the complexities of governing such a vast and diverse realm, he introduced laws that ensured justice, fairness, and efficiency. His legal reforms encompassed taxation, trade, land ownership, and the rights of both Muslim and non-Muslim subjects. These reforms not only stabilized the empire but also fostered loyalty among its people, as they saw Suleiman as a ruler who prioritized their well-being. Economically, the empire thrived during Suleiman's reign. The Ottoman Empire occupied a strategic position between Europe and Asia, controlling key trade routes that facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and culture. Suleiman capitalized on this by promoting trade and ensuring that the empire remained an attractive hub for merchants. The flourishing of commerce contributed to the empire's wealth, enabling Suleiman to invest in ambitious architectural and cultural projects. The architectural achievements of the Golden Age are among its most enduring legacies. Suleiman commissioned some of the most iconic structures in Ottoman history, many of which still stand today as testaments to the grandeur of his reign. The great architect Mimar Sinan, a genius of his time, played a pivotal role in shaping the empire's architectural landscape. Sinan's masterpieces, such as the Süleymaniye Mosque in Istanbul, combined functionality with breathtaking beauty. These structures were not merely places of worship or governance but symbols of the empire's cultural and spiritual aspirations. The Süleymaniye Mosque, in particular, stands as a crowning achievement of Ottoman architecture. Commissioned by Suleiman in honor of his reign, the mosque is a marvel of engineering and artistry. Its grand domes and intricate designs reflect the empire's prosperity and sophistication. The mosque also served as a complex, housing schools, a hospital, and a library, highlighting Suleiman's commitment to the welfare of his people. Culturally, Suleiman's reign was a flourishing period for art, literature, and science. The Sultan himself was a patron of the arts and an accomplished poet, writing under the pen name, Muhibi. His poems, filled with themes of love, justice, and spirituality, reveal a ruler deeply connected to the cultural and intellectual currents of his time. Suleiman's court attracted scholars, artists, and thinkers from across the empire and beyond, creating an environment where ideas and creativity thrived. The arts were deeply intertwined with the empire's identity during the Golden Age. Calligraphy, miniature painting, and textile production reached new heights, with Ottoman artisans producing works that were sought after across the world. The fusion of Islamic, Persian, and Byzantine influences created a unique aesthetic that defined the Ottoman style. These cultural achievements were not only expressions of artistic excellence but also tools of diplomacy, as they showcased the empire's sophistication to foreign courts. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Golden Age was the role of women in the Ottoman court, particularly Hurrem Sultan, Suleiman's wife. Hurrem, also known as Roxolana, was a remarkable figure who broke with tradition by becoming the first concubine to marry a sultan. Her influence on Suleiman and her involvement in state affairs were unprecedented, challenging the norms of the Ottoman harem. Hurrem's intelligence and political acumen made her a key advisor to Suleiman, and her philanthropic work, including the construction of charitable complexes, left a lasting impact on Ottoman society. The Golden Age also saw significant advancements in science and medicine. Ottoman scholars built upon the knowledge of earlier civilizations, making strides in astronomy, mathematics, and medicine. Hospitals and medical schools established during this period set high standards for healthcare and education. These achievements were a reflection of the empire's commitment to knowledge and progress, values that Suleiman upheld throughout his reign. Despite the empire's prosperity, the Golden Age was not without its challenges. The rapid expansion of territory brought logistical and administrative difficulties, as governing such a vast empire required constant effort. Additionally, tensions within the court, particularly between Suleiman's sons, foreshadowed the succession struggles that would emerge later. However, Suleiman's leadership ensured that these challenges did not overshadow the achievements of his reign. Suleiman's Golden Age was a testament to his vision and leadership, transforming the Ottoman Empire into a global power that was admired and envied by its contemporaries. His reign was marked by a delicate balance of military conquest, administrative reform, cultural patronage, and economic prosperity. Each of these elements contributed to an era that remains a defining chapter in Ottoman history. The legacy of the Golden Age is still evident today, not only in the monuments and works of art that have survived but also in the values of justice, knowledge, and cultural richness that Suleiman championed. His ability to combine the roles of warrior, legislator, and patron of the arts made him a ruler whose impact extended far beyond his lifetime. The Golden Age of the Ottoman Empire, under Sultan Suleiman, was not just a period of historical greatness but a time when the ideals of governance, culture, and humanity reached unparalleled heights. Sultan Suleiman's reign was marked by an extraordinary series of military campaigns and conquests that expanded the Ottoman Empire to its greatest territorial extent. His strategic brilliance and military acumen transformed the Ottomans into a force that dominated Europe, Asia, and North Africa, leaving an indelible mark on history. Each campaign reflected Suleiman's commitment to solidifying the empire's power, defending its borders, and spreading its influence. From the earliest days of his reign, Suleiman demonstrated an aggressive approach to expansion. One of his first major military achievements was the conquest of Belgrade in 1521. This city, a key fortress in the Kingdom of Hungary, was strategically located along the Danube River, serving as a gateway to Central Europe. Belgrade's fall was a monumental victory for the Ottomans, breaking a critical barrier that had previously contained their expansion. The victory also served as a message to Europe. Suleiman was a leader who would not be constrained by treaties or borders. In 1522, Suleiman turned his attention to the eastern Mediterranean. The Knights of St. John, who had entrenched themselves on the island of Rhodes, posed a persistent threat to Ottoman maritime interests. Suleiman launched a massive naval and land campaign against Rhodes, leading a siege that lasted 6 months. Despite fierce resistance from the Knights, the Ottomans, superior numbers and relentless tactics forced them to surrender. The capture of Rhodes was a critical milestone, giving the Ottomans greater control over the eastern Mediterranean and solidifying Suleiman's reputation as an unstoppable conqueror. Suleiman's most famous campaign was undoubtedly the Battle of Mohacs in 1526. Facing the Kingdom of Hungary under King Louis II, Suleiman led his forces into battle on the plains of Mohacs. The Ottoman army, utilizing advanced artillery and superior tactics, overwhelmed the Hungarian forces in a decisive victory. The battle resulted in the death of King Louis II and the collapse of Hungary as an independent kingdom. This victory opened the way for Ottoman domination in Central Europe and established Suleiman as a formidable power against Christian Europe. Mohacs was not just a military triumph but a symbol of Ottoman supremacy, as Suleiman now controlled key territories in Hungary. The conquest of Hungary also brought Suleiman into direct conflict with the Habsburgs, who sought to reclaim territories lost to the Ottomans. In 1529, Suleiman marched on Vienna, aiming to capture the heart of the Habsburg Empire. The Siege of Vienna was a monumental event in European history, as it marked the height of Ottoman expansion into Europe. While the siege ultimately failed due to logistical challenges and harsh weather conditions, it demonstrated Suleiman's boldness and the Ottomans' ability to strike deep into European territory. Vienna would remain a focal point of Ottoman-Habsburg rivalry for centuries to come. In addition to his European campaigns, Suleiman also focused on consolidating and expanding Ottoman control in the Middle East. The Safavid Empire, under Shah Tahmasp, posed a significant threat to Ottoman interests in the region. Suleiman launched several campaigns against the Safavids, seeking to secure the eastern borders of his empire and establish dominance in the contested territories of Iraq and Iran. The most notable of these campaigns was the capture of Baghdad in 1534. By taking this historic city, Suleiman not only weakened the Safavids but also gained control over a region rich in resources and cultural significance. Suleiman's military endeavors extended to North Africa, where he sought to protect Ottoman interests against European powers, particularly Spain. The Barbary Coast, a critical region for controlling Mediterranean trade, became a focal point of Suleiman's campaigns. His alliance with the legendary corsair and naval commander Hayreddin Barbarossa proved instrumental in securing Ottoman dominance in the region. Barbarossa, as the Grand Admiral of the Ottoman Navy, led successful campaigns against Spanish forces, capturing key territories such as Algiers and Tunis. These victories not only safeguarded Ottoman maritime interests but also established the empire as a dominant naval power in the Mediterranean. One of Suleiman's most ambitious naval campaigns was the Battle of Preveza in 1538. This battle, fought against a coalition of European powers led by the Holy League, was a defining moment in the struggle for control over the Mediterranean. Under Barbarossa's command, the Ottoman fleet decisively defeated the Holy League, securing Ottoman supremacy in the region for decades. The victory at Preveza underscored the importance of Suleiman's naval strategy, as it allowed the empire to dominate key trade routes and project power across the seas. Suleiman's military campaigns were not limited to conquest alone, they were also driven by a desire to protect the empire's borders and ensure its stability. In 1541, he launched a campaign to reclaim Buda, the Hungarian capital, from Habsburg forces. This campaign was critical in consolidating Ottoman control over Hungary, as it established a more secure and defensible border against European powers. Similarly, Suleiman's campaigns in the Caucasus and eastern Anatolia were aimed at countering Safavid influence and securing the empire's eastern frontiers. The Indian Ocean also became a theater of Ottoman expansion during Suleiman's reign. The Portuguese, who had established a dominant presence in the region, posed a significant threat to Muslim trade routes and pilgrims traveling to Mecca and Medina. Suleiman sought to challenge Portuguese dominance by sending naval expeditions to the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean. While these efforts met with mixed success, they demonstrated the Ottomans' willingness to engage in distant theaters of conflict to protect their interests and support Muslim communities worldwide. Suleiman's later campaigns were marked by a focus on maintaining the empire's territorial gains and addressing internal challenges. In 1566, at the age of 72, Suleiman led his final campaign against the Habsburgs, targeting the fortress of Szigetvar in Hungary. Despite his failing health, Suleiman's determination to lead his army in person remained unwavering. The siege of Szigetvar was a grueling and costly battle, but it ultimately resulted in an Ottoman victory. Tragically, Suleiman passed away during the campaign, marking the end of an era. His death was kept secret until the fortress was captured, ensuring that the morale of the Ottoman army remained intact. Suleiman's military campaigns were not merely exercises in territorial expansion, they were a reflection of his vision for the Ottoman Empire. Each conquest strengthened the empire's strategic position, enhanced its economic resources, and solidified its reputation as a global power. Suleiman's ability to lead his armies with courage and wisdom earned him the loyalty of his soldiers and the respect of his adversaries. His campaigns were characterized by meticulous planning, innovative tactics, and a relentless pursuit of victory, qualities that defined him as one of history's greatest military leaders. The legacy of Suleiman's military campaigns endures to this day. His conquests shaped the geopolitical landscape of Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa, leaving a lasting impact on the regions he brought under Ottoman control. The territories he secured, the battles he fought, and the strategies he employed continue to be studied and admired by historians and military scholars. Suleiman's reign was not just a period of expansion, it was a testament to the power of vision, leadership, and determination in shaping the course of history. Under his rule, the Ottoman Empire reached its zenith, becoming a true superpower that left an indelible mark on the world. Sultan Suleiman, often celebrated for his military conquests and governance, also led a deeply personal life, shaped by relationships that had significant political and cultural ramifications. His harem, the seat of intrigue and influence within the Ottoman court, played a central role in his personal narrative. At its heart was Hurrem Sultan, the woman who became his closest confidant, his consort, and the mother of his children. The dynamics of Suleiman's personal life and his harem were not merely private matters, they intertwined with the politics and history of his empire. Suleiman's harem was a microcosm of the empire itself, representing its diversity and complexity. Women of different ethnicities and religions were brought into the harem, primarily through conquests or as gifts to the sultan. These women were trained in court etiquette, arts, and religion, with the hope that one might gain the sultan's favor. While most women in the harem remained in relative obscurity, one name shines prominently in history: Hurrem Sultan, also known as Roxolana. Hurrem Sultan's story is extraordinary. Born as Alexandra Lizowska in what is now Ukraine, she was captured by Crimean Tatars and sold into slavery, eventually finding her way to the Ottoman court. Her beauty, intelligence, and charm captured Suleiman's attention, but it was her wit and political acumen that cemented her position as his most trusted companion. Unlike previous sultans who maintained relationships with multiple concubines, Suleiman broke tradition by marrying Hurrem. This act elevated her status, making her the first imperial consort to hold the title of Haseki Sultan. The love between Suleiman and Hurrem is immortalized in the poetic letters they exchanged during his military campaigns. Suleiman, a poet himself, often wrote under the pen name Muhibi, expressing his deep affection for her. In one of his verses, he referred to Hurrem as his queen of the land of beauty and the torch of his heart. Their correspondence reveals a tender and genuine relationship that defied the conventions of the Ottoman court. Hurrem's influence extended beyond the personal realm. She became a central figure in the empire's political and diplomatic affairs. Critics of the time accused her of manipulating Suleiman, but it is undeniable that she possessed a sharp intellect and an acute understanding of statecraft. She played a significant role in securing the future of her sons, particularly Selim, in the line of succession. Her involvement in the politics of the empire, often referred to as the Sultanate of Women, marked a period when women of the harem wielded considerable power. Suleiman's personal life was also deeply shaped by his relationships with his children. With Hurrem, he had 6 children, including 4 sons: Mehmed, Selim, Bayezid, and Cihangir. The Sultan's relationship with his sons was complex and fraught with challenges. His eldest son, Mustafa, born to Mahidevran Sultan, was initially considered the strongest contender for the throne. However, the rivalry between Mahidevran and Hurrem created tensions within the palace, spilling over into the empire's politics. Mustafa's tragic fate remains one of the most heart-wrenching episodes of Suleiman's reign. Accused of plotting treason against his father, Mustafa was executed on Suleiman's orders in 1553 during the campaign in Persia. While some historians argue that Hurrem played a role in Mustafa's downfall to secure the throne for her own sons, the truth remains shrouded in speculation. What is certain is that Suleiman's decision deeply affected him. Reports suggest that the Sultan mourned his son's death, and his subsequent actions reflected a man burdened by guilt and sorrow. Hurrem's death in 1558 marked the end of an era in Suleiman's personal life. He never took another consort after her passing, a testament to the profound bond they shared. Her legacy, however, lived on, particularly through the grand architectural projects she commissioned, such as the Hurrem Sultan bathhouse in Istanbul. These projects not only showcased her influence but also reflected the cultural and artistic achievements of Suleiman's reign. Beyond his immediate family, Suleiman's personal life was enriched by his friendships and close advisors. The most notable among them was Ibrahim Pasha, Suleiman's childhood friend and Grand Vizier. Ibrahim's rise to power was meteoric, and he became one of the most influential figures in the empire. However, their relationship took a tragic turn when Ibrahim was accused of overstepping his authority and executed on Suleiman's orders in 1536. The loss of Ibrahim, coupled with the turmoil within his family, contributed to Suleiman's increasing isolation in his later years. The harem itself was a world of its own, governed by a strict hierarchy and intricate rules. The Valide Sultan, the Sultan's mother, held the highest position and wielded significant influence over the harem and the empire. Suleiman's mother, Hafsa Sultan, played a pivotal role in his early reign, ensuring the stability of the court. Following her death, Hurrem Sultan emerged as the most powerful woman in the empire, navigating the complex dynamics of the harem with skill and determination. Suleiman's personal life also intersected with his spiritual beliefs. As a devout Muslim, he sought solace in his faith, especially during times of personal and political turmoil. His patronage of Islamic arts and architecture was not just a reflection of his piety but also a means of leaving a lasting legacy. The Süleymaniye Mosque, one of the most iconic landmarks in Istanbul, stands as a testament to his devotion and vision. Designed by the renowned architect Mimar Sinan, the mosque symbolizes the grandeur of Suleiman's reign and his connection to his faith. In his later years, Suleiman became increasingly introspective, perhaps reflecting on the losses he had endured and the weight of his responsibilities. The deaths of Hurrem and his sons, combined with the betrayals and conflicts that marked his reign, left him a somber and reflective ruler. Despite this, he continued to lead the empire with resolve, ensuring its stability and prosperity until his final days. Suleiman's personal life, though deeply private, had profound implications for the empire he ruled. His relationships, decisions, and the dynamics of his harem shaped the course of Ottoman history, influencing the succession, governance, and culture of the empire. The story of Suleiman and Hurrem, in particular, remains a powerful narrative of love, ambition, and legacy, capturing the imagination of historians and storytellers alike. Through his personal life, Suleiman demonstrated the complexities of being a ruler, a father, and a husband. His ability to balance these roles, despite the challenges he faced, reveals the human side of a man often remembered as a larger-than-life figure. It is this humanity, intertwined with his achievements, that makes Sultan Suleiman one of the most fascinating figures in history. Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent's reign was marked not only by military conquests but also by his extraordinary skill in diplomacy and international relations. As the ruler of the most powerful Islamic empire of the 16th century, Suleiman understood the importance of forging alliances, maintaining strategic relationships, and using diplomacy as a tool to strengthen the Ottoman Empire's influence across continents. His deft handling of foreign powers solidified the Ottoman position as a global superpower and left an indelible mark on the history of international politics. One of Suleiman's most notable diplomatic achievements was his alliance with France, an unlikely partnership that showcased his strategic acumen. The French king, Francis I, found himself embroiled in conflict with Charles V of the Holy Roman Empire, who sought to dominate Europe. Francis, outmatched militarily, turned to the Ottomans for assistance. Recognizing the opportunity to counter Habsburg power and extend Ottoman influence into Europe, Suleiman agreed to form an alliance. This Franco-Ottoman alliance was revolutionary, as it bridged the gap between a Christian monarchy and an Islamic empire. In 1536, a formal treaty was signed, granting France privileges in Ottoman territories, including favorable trade conditions and religious protections for French Christians. This agreement, known as the Capitulations, laid the foundation for a long-lasting relationship that benefited both empires. For Suleiman, the alliance provided a strategic partner in Europe, allowing him to exert pressure on the Habsburgs. For Francis, it offered a powerful ally against his rivals, giving France a stronger foothold in European politics. Suleiman's diplomacy extended beyond Europe. In the East, he cultivated relationships with the Safavid Empire in Persia, though these were often fraught with tension. The Ottomans and Safavids were rivals, divided by both territorial disputes and religious differences. While the Ottomans adhered to Sunni Islam, the Safavids were staunch Shia Muslims. Suleiman's campaigns against the Safavids were as much about consolidating Sunni dominance as they were about territorial expansion. However, he also recognized the importance of stabilizing relations to ensure the empire's eastern borders remained secure. To this end, Suleiman engaged in a mix of military action and negotiation. The Treaty of Amasya, signed in 1555, marked a turning point in Ottoman-Safavid relations. This agreement, which divided territories in Mesopotamia, Armenia, and the Caucasus, established a fragile peace that allowed both empires to focus on internal stability and external threats. For Suleiman, this treaty was a diplomatic victory, as it secured Ottoman dominance in key regions while preventing further costly conflicts with the Safavids. Suleiman's diplomatic reach extended to the Indian subcontinent, where he maintained contact with the Mughal Empire. The Mughals, under Emperor Babur and later Humayun, looked to the Ottomans as both spiritual and political allies. Suleiman sent envoys to the Mughal court, fostering a relationship that reinforced the shared Islamic identity of their empires. This connection was not merely symbolic, it also facilitated the exchange of ideas, culture, and technology, enriching both empires and strengthening their positions against mutual threats. The Mediterranean was another crucial arena for Suleiman's diplomacy. As the Ottoman navy dominated the seas, Suleiman used his maritime power to negotiate with states and city-states along the Mediterranean coast. Venice, one of the most prominent maritime republics of the time, had a complex relationship with the Ottoman Empire. While Venice was wary of Ottoman expansion, it also relied on trade with the empire for its economic prosperity. Suleiman skillfully balanced this dynamic, ensuring that Venice remained a valuable trade partner while asserting Ottoman dominance in the region. Suleiman's diplomatic prowess was also evident in his interactions with the papacy. While the Ottomans were often seen as a threat to Christendom, Suleiman maintained a pragmatic approach to relations with the Pope. He understood that the papacy held significant influence over European politics and sought to use this to his advantage. By fostering relationships with factions opposed to Habsburg dominance, Suleiman weakened his rivals and ensured that the Ottoman Empire remained a formidable force in European affairs. The Sultan's diplomacy was not limited to powerful states, he also engaged with smaller entities, such as the Crimean Khanate and the Barbary states. The Crimean Khanate, a vassal state of the Ottoman Empire, played a crucial role in the empire's northern strategy. Suleiman ensured that the Khanate remained loyal, using it as a buffer against Russian expansion and a source of military support. Similarly, the Barbary states, located along the North African coast, served as extensions of Ottoman power in the Mediterranean. Suleiman supported their activities, including piracy, as a means of weakening European rivals and securing Ottoman maritime supremacy. One of the most fascinating aspects of Suleiman's diplomacy was his ability to project the empire's influence without direct conflict. This was evident in his dealings with Southeast Asia, where the Ottomans established relationships with Muslim states in the region. Envoys and merchants carried Ottoman influence to places like Aceh in present-day Indonesia, providing military assistance and fostering religious connections. These efforts, though less direct than his campaigns in Europe and the Middle East, showcased Suleiman's vision of a global Islamic community united under Ottoman leadership. Suleiman's diplomatic efforts were supported by an efficient administrative system that facilitated communication and negotiation across vast distances. The empire's chancery, staffed by skilled scribes and diplomats, played a crucial role in drafting treaties, managing correspondence, and maintaining relationships with foreign powers. Suleiman himself took an active interest in diplomacy, often dictating the terms of agreements and ensuring that the empire's interests were safeguarded. Under Suleiman's leadership, the Ottoman Empire became a hub of cultural and intellectual exchange. Diplomats, scholars, and merchants brought ideas and innovations from around the world to Istanbul, enriching the empire's intellectual life. Suleiman's patronage of the arts and sciences further enhanced the empire's prestige, making it not only a military and political power but also a cultural beacon. Suleiman's legacy in diplomacy is perhaps best summarized by his ability to navigate the complexities of a rapidly changing world. He understood that military might alone could not sustain an empire as vast and diverse as the Ottomans. Through alliances, treaties, and strategic partnerships, he ensured that the empire remained resilient in the face of challenges. His vision of diplomacy was not merely about asserting dominance but also about creating a stable and prosperous world order in which the Ottoman Empire could thrive. The diplomatic strategies of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent continue to be studied and admired. His ability to balance power, foster alliances, and maintain the empire's interests in a complex and often hostile international environment set a standard for leadership that resonates even today. Through his diplomacy, Suleiman demonstrated that true greatness lies not only in conquest but also in the ability to build bridges and shape the course of history through dialogue and negotiation. Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent's reign was not only marked by military conquests and political acumen but also by a cultural and architectural renaissance that left an enduring mark on the Ottoman Empire and the broader Islamic world. Known as the lawgiver for his reforms, Suleiman was also a great patron of the arts and architecture. His era, often referred to as the Golden Age of the Ottoman Empire, saw the flourishing of literature, music, calligraphy, and monumental architectural achievements that reflected the empire's glory and Suleiman's personal vision of a prosperous, unified, and devout society. One of the most prominent aspects of Suleiman's cultural legacy was his patronage of architecture, which transformed the urban landscape of the empire. Under his reign, Istanbul, the capital of the Ottoman Empire, was adorned with grand mosques, bridges, schools, and palaces, symbolizing the empire's power and piety. At the heart of this architectural transformation was the renowned architect Mimar Sinan, who rose to prominence during Suleiman's reign. Sinan, often considered one of the greatest architects in Islamic history, designed numerous iconic structures that defined Ottoman architecture. The Süleymaniye Mosque in Istanbul stands as a testament to Suleiman's vision and Sinan's genius. Completed in 1557, the mosque was not merely a place of worship but a complex that included a hospital, a school, a library, and a soup kitchen, serving both the spiritual and practical needs of the community. Its majestic domes, towering minarets, and intricate tilework reflected the empire's artistic sophistication and Islamic heritage. Positioned atop one of Istanbul's hills, the mosque dominates the city's skyline, symbolizing the empire's strength and Suleiman's commitment to faith. Suleiman's architectural patronage extended beyond Istanbul to other parts of the empire. In Jerusalem, he undertook the restoration of the city's walls, ensuring its protection and emphasizing its significance as a center of spirituality for Muslims, Christians, and Jews alike. These walls, which still encircle the old city of Jerusalem today, stand as a testament to his vision of safeguarding sacred spaces and preserving the sanctity of historical sites. The Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque, already central to Islamic heritage, were also maintained and enhanced under his directive, solidifying his role as a custodian of Islamic landmarks. Beyond monumental architecture, Suleiman's reign encouraged the flourishing of Islamic calligraphy and tilework. The distinct blue and white Iznik tiles, known for their intricate floral and geometric patterns, became synonymous with Ottoman art and were prominently used in mosques, palaces, and tombs. These decorative arts reflected the Ottomans' ability to blend artistic sophistication with deep spiritual meaning, creating works that celebrated both aesthetic beauty and religious devotion. Suleiman himself was deeply engaged with the cultural renaissance of his empire. A gifted poet, he wrote under the pen name Muhibi and produced hundreds of verses in Persian and Turkish. His poetry revealed a personal side of the Sultan, showcasing his reflections on love, faith, power, and the fleeting nature of life. His literary contributions not only enriched the cultural tapestry of the empire but also connected him with the intellectual and artistic currents of his time. This cultural vibrancy extended to the broader court. The Ottoman court became a hub of intellectual activity, attracting scholars, artists, and craftsmen from across the empire and beyond. The exchange of ideas between cultures and regions brought innovations in medicine, astronomy, and philosophy, cementing the Ottomans' reputation as leaders in knowledge and the arts. Suleiman's efforts in cultural development were not limited to elite circles. His architectural and cultural projects were designed to uplift the lives of his subjects. By commissioning public works such as bridges, aqueducts, and fountains, he sought to improve the quality of life for all citizens. His vision emphasized the integration of faith and governance, where public service was intertwined with religious duty. As Sultan Suleiman's legacy grew, so did the influence of Ottoman art and architecture on neighboring regions. From the Balkans to the Middle East, his reign left a lasting imprint on cities and cultures, spreading the Ottoman aesthetic and demonstrating the empire's cultural supremacy. His projects not only defined an era but also inspired generations of rulers who aspired to replicate his vision of a society grounded in faith, knowledge, and artistic expression. Even centuries after his death, the cultural and architectural legacy of Suleiman the Magnificent continues to inspire. The structures built under his reign, from Istanbul's Süleymaniye Mosque to Jerusalem's fortified walls, remain enduring symbols of his vision. They reflect a ruler who saw the beauty of blending power with humility, governance with faith, and ambition with service. Suleiman's cultural renaissance elevated the Ottoman Empire to its zenith, cementing his status as one of history's most remarkable leaders. As Sultan Suleiman grew older, the immense responsibilities of ruling one of the world's most powerful empires began to take their toll. Decades of warfare, governance, and personal tragedies shaped the twilight of his reign, casting a shadow over what had been an era of unmatched grandeur. By the late 1550s, the once vigorous sultan began to show signs of physical and emotional wear. Yet, even in decline, Suleiman remained a formidable figure, determined to uphold his vision for the Ottoman Empire until his final breath. The first signs of decline were evident in Suleiman's diminishing ability to personally oversee the empire's vast administrative machinery. His reliance on trusted advisors increased significantly, which, while practical, allowed court intrigue to flourish. Chief among the influential figures during this period was Grand Vizier Sokolu Mehmed Pasha, whose administrative skills kept the empire functioning efficiently. However, the growing power of court factions, combined with Suleiman's physical absences, signaled the beginning of a gradual centralization of power in the hands of bureaucrats and advisors rather than the Sultan himself. The most profound blow to Suleiman in his later years was the death of Hurrem Sultan, his beloved wife and confidant. Her passing in 1558 left the Sultan deeply bereaved, depriving him of a companion who had been a source of strength and counsel for decades. Suleiman's grief was palpable, and many observers noted that he was never quite the same after her death. He sought solace in poetry, writing poignant verses under his pen name, Muhibi, which expressed his sorrow and longing. The loss of Herm also destabilized the delicate balance of power within the court, as rival factions vied for influence over Suleiman and his successors. This period was also marked by growing unrest within the empire's provinces. The strain of constant military campaigns and the financial burden of maintaining the empire's vast territories began to spark discontent among the populace. In Anatolia, revolts erupted as peasants protested rising taxes and oppressive local governors. In the Balkans and North Africa, the challenges of managing distant territories further stretched the empire's resources. Suleiman, though weary, remained committed to addressing these issues, but the challenges underscored the growing complexity of governing such a vast and diverse empire. On the military front, Suleiman's later campaigns lacked the decisiveness and strategic brilliance of his earlier conquests. In 1566, at the age of 71, Suleiman embarked on his final campaign, seeking to capture the fortress of Szigetvar in Hungary. Despite his advanced age and failing health, the Sultan insisted on leading the campaign personally, driven by a desire to demonstrate his enduring strength and to secure the empire's borders against the Habsburgs. The campaign was grueling, and Suleiman's health deteriorated rapidly as he pushed forward with the siege. Suleiman's death came on September 6, 1566, during the siege of Szigetvar. His passing was kept a closely guarded secret for weeks, as his advisors feared the impact of the news on the army and the empire. The fortress eventually fell to the Ottomans, a symbolic victory that marked the end of Suleiman's illustrious military career. However, the campaign also highlighted the fragility of the empire's military and administrative systems without the direct leadership of its sultan. In the wake of Suleiman's death, the Ottoman Empire faced the immense task of transitioning to a new era. His successor, Selim II, inherited an empire at its zenith but also one burdened by internal challenges and external threats. Suleiman's meticulous governance and cultural contributions had laid a strong foundation, but his absence revealed the cracks that would eventually lead to the empire's slow decline in the centuries to come. Suleiman's final years serve as a poignant reminder of the human side of one of history's most celebrated rulers. Despite his extraordinary achievements, he faced the universal challenges of aging, loss, and the complexities of leadership. His later poetry reflects a ruler grappling with his own mortality, seeking meaning and solace in faith and reflection. Though Suleiman passed away at the height of his empire's power, his death marked the end of an era. The empire he left behind was a testament to his vision, ambition, and resilience, but it was also a reflection of the immense challenges inherent in sustaining such a vast and diverse realm. Suleiman the Magnificent remains an enduring figure in history, not only for his conquests and cultural achievements but also for his humanity and the legacy he left behind. Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent's reign left an indelible mark on the Ottoman Empire, one that still echoes through history today. His accomplishments not only shaped the trajectory of the empire during his lifetime but also set the stage for its cultural, political, and military legacy for centuries to come. Suleiman's leadership transformed the Ottomans into a global superpower, with influence stretching from the shores of North Africa to the gates of Vienna. But his true legacy is not just in his military conquests or his expansion of the empire, it is also in the realms of law, culture, art, and governance, where his influence would be felt long after his death. One of Suleiman's most significant contributions was in the realm of law. He is often credited with creating what became known as the Qanun, a system of secular laws that complemented the Islamic law of the Quran and the Hadith. The Qanun system was comprehensive, addressing everything from taxation and crime to the rights of the subjects under the Sultan's rule. What made Suleiman's legal reforms so revolutionary was their focus on justice and fairness, even as they reinforced the Sultan's absolute power. By codifying laws in a way that made them accessible and enforceable, he laid the foundation for a system of governance that would remain relatively stable for centuries. The lawgiver title that Suleiman earned, known as Qanuni, reflects his deep understanding of the balance needed to manage such a vast and diverse empire. His reforms were a response to the evolving complexities of Ottoman governance, and they helped strengthen the empire's internal cohesion. By securing a legal framework that ensured both the secular and religious laws could coexist, he managed to unite his vast empire under a singular rule, making it more effective and just for its diverse population. His legal reforms also served as a model for future rulers in the region, influencing subsequent generations of Ottoman leaders who followed his example. Yet, Suleiman's influence was not just confined to the realm of law. He was also a patron of the arts and culture, ushering in a golden age for the Ottoman Empire. Under his rule, Istanbul became a hub for artists, scholars, and poets, and the empire saw the construction of some of the most magnificent buildings in its history. The Süleymaniye Mosque, one of the crowning achievements of Ottoman architecture, was commissioned by Suleiman and stands today as a testament to his commitment to beautifying his empire. The mosque's design, which blends Islamic, Byzantine, and Ottoman architectural elements, is an enduring symbol of the empire's grandeur during his reign. Suleiman's love for the arts was not limited to architecture. He also encouraged the development of literature and poetry, personally writing hundreds of verses that expressed his thoughts on love, philosophy, and governance. He was deeply involved in the intellectual life of his empire, fostering an environment where scholars could thrive. This cultural flourishing, which lasted well into the reigns of his successors, contributed significantly to the preservation and spread of Ottoman art and literature across the world. Under Suleiman's patronage, the empire became a cultural beacon for both the East and West. Moreover, Suleiman's impact on the world stage was immense. His military conquests and expansionist policies altered the geopolitical landscape of Europe, Asia, and Africa. The Ottoman Empire under Suleiman became the most powerful empire in the Mediterranean, stretching its influence over critical trade routes and securing a foothold in Eastern Europe. His campaigns against the Habsburgs in Europe and his control of the Mediterranean set the stage for a new balance of power in the region. The Ottomans became a formidable naval force under Suleiman's leadership, with the empire's fleet challenging the dominance of Spain and Italy in the Mediterranean. Despite his expansionist goals, Suleiman's diplomatic skills were equally crucial to his legacy. His approach to diplomacy was marked by shrewd alliances and strategic marriages. He forged significant alliances with France and other European powers, which helped maintain peace on the empire's western borders and enabled the Ottomans to focus on their eastern and southern threats. The use of diplomacy to complement military strength was a hallmark of Suleiman's reign, and it allowed the Ottomans to exert influence over a wide array of nations and kingdoms, even those far beyond their immediate borders. In addition to his military and cultural contributions, Suleiman also helped shape the future of the Ottoman Empire through his successors. His son, Selim II, inherited a well-organized and wealthy empire, thanks in large part to the groundwork laid by his father. While Selim's reign is often considered a period of decline for the empire, it was Suleiman's effective governance that ensured the Ottomans would continue to thrive for generations after his death. His reforms, military expansions, and cultural patronage left a legacy that was both profound and enduring, setting a precedent for Ottoman rulers to follow for centuries to come. However, Suleiman's legacy is not without its contradictions. His empire was vast and powerful, but it was also heavily reliant on military might. Some historians argue that the decline of the Ottoman Empire in the centuries following his reign can be traced back to the overextension of its resources during his reign. His conquests, while strategically important at the time, eventually became a burden on the empire as it struggled to manage its vast territories. Yet, despite these challenges, the Ottoman Empire remained a significant global power for several centuries after his death. In the modern era, Suleiman's reign continues to be studied and admired for the way it fused military might with cultural brilliance. His legacy has become a symbol of the peak of Ottoman power, a time when the empire was at the height of its political, military, and cultural influence. For the people of Turkey and the greater Ottoman world, Suleiman remains a hero, a symbol of the empire's most prosperous period. His reign serves as a reminder of the possibilities of centralized power, cultural exchange, and diplomatic ingenuity. As history remembers him, Suleiman the Magnificent stands as one of the most consequential figures of the 16th century, not only because of his military conquests but also because of his unparalleled influence in shaping the cultural and political landscape of the Ottoman Empire. His achievements continue to resonate through the halls of history, reminding us that even the greatest of empires must one day face the ravages of time. Yet, in the case of Suleiman, his impact will never fade, for his legacy is woven into the fabric of both Ottoman and world history. Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent's reign remains one of the most pivotal chapters in the history of the Ottoman Empire. From his early life to his rise as one of the most formidable rulers of the 16th century, his story is a testament to the fusion of military genius, administrative innovation, cultural patronage, and diplomatic acumen. His reign marks the peak of the Ottoman Empire's power, prosperity, and cultural achievements, leaving an indelible legacy that still resonates in history today. As a military commander, Suleiman was unmatched in his ability to conquer vast territories and expand the empire. His campaigns in Europe, Africa, and the Middle East brought the Ottomans to the zenith of their military prowess, controlling key strategic areas, including the Mediterranean and much of Eastern Europe. His military triumphs, particularly the capture of Belgrade, the conquest of large swaths of the Hungarian kingdom, and the siege of Vienna, not only solidified his reputation as one of history's great military leaders but also ensured the empire's continued dominance for years to come. However, Suleiman's legacy was not solely defined by his military victories. His role as a legislator and lawgiver also set him apart from other rulers of his time. His codification of the Qanun, secular laws, alongside the Sharia, Islamic law, created a legal system that balanced justice, practicality, and the values of the Islamic State. By formalizing legal procedures and ensuring fairness, Suleiman's reforms established a sense of order and stability across the empire that helped maintain peace and prosperity for much of his reign. Equally important to his reign was his patronage of the arts, which transformed the Ottoman Empire into a beacon of cultural flourishing. Under his leadership, the empire saw a golden age in architecture, literature, and the fine arts. Iconic structures such as the Süleymaniye Mosque, built in his honor, stand as enduring symbols of his dedication to the aesthetic and cultural development of his empire. His influence on the arts and culture was not limited to architecture, however. His encouragement of poets, artists, and scholars helped shape the intellectual and artistic legacy of the empire, leaving behind works that are still celebrated today. Suleiman's diplomatic strategies were also integral to his success. By establishing alliances with European powers like France and securing his empire's place on the global stage, he created a powerful network of political and military partnerships that extended the reach and influence of the Ottoman Empire beyond its borders. His ability to balance diplomacy with military power ensured that the Ottomans could thrive in a world full of shifting alliances and competing empires. Yet, as with any great leader, Suleiman's reign was not without its challenges. His later years saw the beginning of a gradual decline in Ottoman power, marked by internal strife, administrative corruption, and military overextension. Despite these challenges, the empire remained a formidable force for generations after his death, due in large part to the foundations he laid. Suleiman's ability to maintain the unity of such a vast empire, along with his vision for its future, allowed the Ottomans to remain relevant on the world stage long after his passing. His personal life, too, left a lasting imprint on the history of the Ottoman court. The relationship between Suleiman and his beloved wife, Hurrem Sultan, is often portrayed as one of the most influential in Ottoman history, shaping the dynamics of the imperial harem and the political landscape. Hurrem's rise from concubine to sultana and her political involvement during and after Suleiman's reign reflected the changing role of women in the empire, underlining the complex and often contradictory nature of power in the Ottoman court. In the grand tapestry of history, Suleiman's reign stands out not just for the breadth of his conquests or the grandeur of his cultural achievements but also for the way he balanced power with justice, military might with diplomacy, and tradition with innovation. His legacy is not confined to the history books but lives on in the monuments, legal systems, and cultural achievements that he left behind. Looking back at his reign, we see a ruler who managed to weave together the many threads of governance, military strategy, culture, and diplomacy into a cohesive and successful empire. His ability to inspire loyalty in his subjects, his strategic vision, and his deep commitment to both the welfare of his people and the expansion of his empire make him one of the most iconic figures in world history. Today, Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent remains a symbol of Ottoman greatness. His name is synonymous with the empire's golden age, and his contributions to law, governance, military strategy, culture, and diplomacy have left a lasting impact on the world. As history continues to unfold, the legacy of Suleiman the Magnificent will remain a guiding light for future generations, reminding us of the heights that can be reached when leadership, vision, and commitment come together to shape the course of history.